Hey guys, Music Man here, back with another Identity 5 video. And in this video, we're going to take a look at some of my Dream Witch gameplay. Dream Witch is a hunter that I've been sort of messing around with in Quick Match for quite some time now, but I actually decided to use her in ranks. So here's some of the footage from that. Alright, so before we get too deep into this video, I'd like to plug in my clan's Discord server. My clan's name is Mayhem, and we are planning to participate in clan battles and tournaments and stuff, and we are currently accepting applications for both factions, so don't forget to join the server today. So you see right at the beginning here, I find the Entomologist nice and early. I get close to getting these hits, and I've gotten a lot better since this video at doing so. That was a curious palette stun. I'm gonna go ahead and have this follower start auto-marching in the direction of the Entomologist. So now I'm coming at her with 2 leeches because the leech that I already placed on her is auto-marching, and I'm just trying to pin her between her, my spawn leech and my spawn follower and her leech. I keep getting really close to these hits, and her hitbox is really tough to work around. However, I was able to get a first hit on the Entomologist. And you can see my cooldown for my leech is almost over. But I'm going to go ahead and throw down a patroller here so that I'm able to easily get this follow-up here for that terror shock here. And you can see the first round of Cypher Pops is about happening. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this Entomologist to the chair. The Perfumer is going to try to insta-rescue here, which I'm not offended by. I was waiting for that Perfume to run out. I end up downing the Entomologist there, and I've actually got a leech on her, so I don't need to worry too much about following her, because the leech usually will just auto march back to its owner. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the leech out of the zone so that I'm able to have the leech auto march. You can see they're healing here, so I want to disrupt that. So I'm gonna go ahead and leech these players here. You see the auto march back to the Entomologist. So now the Entomologist is on the chair again, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue my chase over here. I down the Perfumer. Gonna take the Perfumer to the chair. I decided to take the Perfumer over to this one. Now this is what makes Dream Witch so strong, is that I'm able to actually camp more than one chair at once. And I actually double hit the coordinator there. I'm just gonna have that leech going there. Now I end up getting flare gun there. But I'm gonna switch over here just to find that the Priestess was planning to insta-rescue. Down the Priestess there, so I double hit the Rescuer, and her attack hit recovery is really, really good. I end up getting stunned there, but I come back, and I see the coordinator is down right over there. So now that means I can go ahead and take the coordinator to the chair. Now, it is risky to carry someone else using someone else's leech, because if they have it primed, they can just instantly free that survivor there, breaking some of the environment. And you can see the leech is sort of coming over this way. I want to keep this leech, generally speaking, guarding the chair there. I see they're planning on healing up, so again, I want to disrupt that. Now watch what I do here. Being that they answered the world portal, I can just wait for that Priestess to come and down the Priestess. So that goes with any hunter. If the world portal starts forming, you can go ahead and camp that until the Priestess comes through. I'm just having this leech camp the Cypher. So I'm trying to keep maximum efficiency going on here. So I've got like a leech. I forget if there's a leech guarding the coordinator anymore. No, not anymore, but they decided not to rescue, so that's all good. I'm trying to have a leech guarding that cipher, a leech sort of patrolling, and then a leech sort of camping here. And typically speaking, I kind of learned this as I was going along, but generally speaking, you want the leech to be the one patrolling. Somehow hit the chair, but at this point, these survivors kind of recognize that there be, 3 ciphers remaining. There's no way 2 survivors would be able to get that. They might have been able to pull the tie if they were lucky, but yeah, they just kind of rage quit there. So that was my other than when like I first started the game, I played her like a couple matches. That was like my first high-tiered Dream Witch gameplay. So now we're going to take a look at another match, which is on Red Church. Red Church is a difficult map for Dream Witch because there's all these walls over. It's kind of difficult to get your leeches to auto march sometimes. So I'm going to move the priestess stuff over there. Now I got my spawn follower following, and I'm able to get a really nice early hit on the priestess. So now, that was a funny misclick. She ended up hitting World Portal, but I went ahead and take the priestess to the chair. I'm actually taking her all the way down to basement. Now, in order to beat a Dream Witch, like a good Dream Witch, you pretty much need to perform perfectly. And if you get a Dream Witch in basement, it's pretty much a guaranteed loss. Maybe draw if you're lucky, but yeah, I feel pretty secure after a quick down in the basement. Still 5 ciphers remaining. Now I go ahead and leech the mercenary there, just so that this is what makes Dream Witch so powerful, is that she can both have extremely strong camping, and she can chase a survivor at the same time she's camping. It just makes the multitasking that much more difficult, but if you really try hard enough, you're able to do both at the same time. So I wanted to make sure that nobody was planning on saving the priestess. You can see here, they were just planning on not rescuing, and that kind of works out to my favor. Because then I don't have to worry about borrowed time or anything. So now I'm going to go ahead and use my leech to look for where some survivors are at. That leech is chasing the mercenary there. I'm making my way over in this general direction. I find the mechanic. And then my spawn follower is actually following close behind me, so I'm able to get a first hit on the mechanic. So whenever you're playing Dream Witch, a lot of things just happen to play out all by themselves. Like, you'll be looking for a survivor, and then you'll notice your leech is there, so you're able to quickly switch and get a jump scare hit. You get so many jump scare hits because the leeches don't have a fear radius. I'm going to go ahead and have my spawn follower camp this cipher here. But there's 4 ciphers remaining. I got 2 leeches. It's looking really good in my favor. I'm in a really prime position here, and so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to pin these survivors together between their own leeches. So you can see I'm having one leech come from one direction, one leech come from the other. If I had blink, I definitely could have pulled that one off, but I've got my leeches here, and I'm actually going to have them all chase the mercenary now. And you can see it was pallet camping that cipher there, which actually worked out in my advantage. I could then hit the mercenary there. So I'm just switching through, making sure all my leeches are at least doing something, and the mercenaries hit. So now the survivors really need to start looking towards finding somewhere to heal up. But I end up downing the mechanic here. You can see they're planning on healing up there. I'm going to go ahead and leech the mechanic because I want as many leeches on the field as I can, which actually at this point is only 2, but that's all good. I can go ahead and the mercenary looks like is going for the rescue here. Now, being that there's 2 ciphers remaining, I go ahead and just switch to abnormal here. That's going to make that cipher last a lot longer. Because if the perfumer pops another cipher, that can make my job pretty difficult. So I decided to abnormal that cipher so I don't have to worry about it. And I actually see the perfumer is right there. I'm gonna go ahead and I got that leech out of radius, so it was gonna auto march there. And I went ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and take this mercenary to the chair using their own leech. And I'm just sort of switching back and forth so I'm able to patrol this area. You can see the mechanic's leech started auto marching, so I can take the mechanic to the chair. So now the perfumer is responsible for pulling a rescue on either one of them. And I actually didn't see the perfumer there. But I decided to hit the perfumer again so that she can't, the perfume becomes a lot less useful. And I actually end up using the leech themselves to hit the survivors next, because once they're down, they're pretty much down for good at this point. The Merc knew that their only hope was decoding that cipher there, but it was not even close to prime, so I'm able to take the mercenary to the chair again. I'm going to go ahead and have this other leech sort of going in this general area to where they're trying to heal up. And my spawn follower is actually camping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my spawn follower out of radius, and then I'm going to leech these survivors, and I'm going to pin them between the 2. So you can see that happen. It was sort of like a jump scare moment there, and I end up downing the mechanic. So I'm going to have this leech auto marching towards the chair. I'm going to use the mech's leech to take the mechanic next to the chair. And now it's really up to the perfumer here, who ended up pulling a successful rescue on the Merc. But the perfumer is also leech, so eventually that's bound to start auto marching here, and I'm aware of that. So I'm sort of having my leech start marching that direction, and there's only 1 cipher remaining, so I definitely don't want that cipher to pop. So I'm going to go ahead and make my way over that way so that I can use my abnormal if I have to. So yeah, I use my abnormal there, and I've got my leech that I'm deciding to auto march towards another cipher. I got my spawn follower here, and I'm going to have my main body at the final cipher so that I can camp all 3 ciphers at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of pushing her over to that cipher. I've got my main body on this cipher, and I've got my leech over at the 3rd cipher. So I've got protection on all of the ciphers in the game at this point. So there's not a whole lot the survivors can do. And I know that the survivors are actually over in this direction now, so I'm going to start taking all my bodies, and I'm going to start having them all come over in that direction so that they can't heal up and sort of reset this portion of the game. I didn't know if one of them picked up mech spot, so I just decided to destroy it. And let's see. So I make my way over this way. I see all the footsteps there. The perfumer's actually in this direction, so I'm going to go ahead and leech the perfumer. I'm going to leech her, stick it inside the church, and I'm going to go ahead and chase the perfumer for a little bit with this leech, keep her occupied, and I'm going to have my spawn follower sort of go in that direction. So at this point, I pretty much at least have a 3-man. If I play my cards right, this could be an easy 4-man. So I'm going to go ahead and use a charge attack on this mercenary here. So that's a first hit there. And I want to make sure that my leech is also putting pressure on the perfumer as well. Because I want to keep them both distracted at the same time so that they can't decode. So the perfumer's right there. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the perfumer. So now she's just sort of laying there. And I'm going to make my way over to the mercenary now. And I'm going to leech over this way. That forces him to want to drop that pallet. And I end up coming through with my spawn follower and downing the mercenary. So yeah, that's pretty much GG's on that game. So now we're going to go back to where we started, and we're going to take a look at a Dream Witch game, another one on Leo's Memory. So Leo's Memory isn't quite as tough a map as it is for some hunters. The only hunters I would say particularly do well compared to other hunters in this map would probably be Dream Witch and Bloody Queen, maybe Wu Chang. But generally speaking, this is a tough map for hunters. So I end up getting a first hit on the perfumer. I don't think the perfumer was expecting to switch or something, so I ended up getting an early hit there, and the perfumer's already leech, so the leech is already chasing the perfumer. And I'm gonna go ahead and use a patroller on this perfumer right over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and have my leeches sort of chase the perfumer here. So this is the perfumer's leech right here. And I'm gonna come through with my spawn follower as well. So I'm gonna put pressure on the perfumer with both of my followers here. And I ended up baiting her to go over that pallet where I was able to hit with a leech. Now, ideally, I would have been able to hit with a spawn follower. However, ultimately, when it comes down to it, this is really fast for a first down, especially as a Dream Witch who particularly excels at camping. So I'm going to go ahead and take my leech back on the perfumer. I'm going to start patrolling around, seeing where rescue might be coming from. And you can see that the mercenary is planning on taking the rescue this time. So I should have actually had the leech camp the chair more closely. But I get a double hit on the mercenary here. And I end up hitting the perfumer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my leech out of radius so that it'll auto march to the perfumer. And I'm going to start looking around for where this mercenary is at. I end up completely losing the mercenary here, so I mean, it's all good. The bot actually starts healing him right over here, but the auto march allows me to put the perfumer back on the chair, and I see that the dungeon is there, and the mercenary ended up getting healed. So I'm going to go ahead and leech the mercenary and disrupt this from going on. So you can see I put a leech there, and that mercenary was lucky that I hit the bot. I personally think that should have hit the mercenary there. But I'm also aware that someone might come to rescue at the last second. But I can see my tinnitus is off, so the perfumer is a secured down. Now, I am in really good position to win at this point. Now, unlike most hunters where this would probably mean a tie at this point, if you, the thing that's super strong about Dream Witch is she's able to have her, like her spawn follower and leeches at like different total sides of the map. So even if the game does make it post pop, that doesn't necessarily mean that like only a few survivors would be able to come out. So I end up switching to abnormal here, slowing down that cipher there, I end up hitting the postman there, and I'm going to chase the postman for a little bit. Now I think the other two are healing and unleashing, but I end up hitting the postman 2 times in a row. I'm going to get this leech, disrupting whatever is going on out here. And they end up successfully unleashing. But I'm like, okay, if you're just going to undo my other leech, I'm going to go ahead and take your postman back to the chair so that you can't just quickly pop a cipher. It's going to be a lot more difficult for you. So while the survivor's balloon, I go ahead and leech, and I'm going to go ahead and take the postman to the chair, and I'm going to start patrolling with my leech. I know they're going to be coming from this direction because that's the direction they were healing up, and I wanted to make sure that I hit the mechanic at least once because she was the one that was able to get healed. And for some reason the mercenary decided to use a wand there, but that allowed me to get an easy terror shock. I didn't even realize that until after the terror shock. I was like, wait, what happened? But yeah, so with these rank matches with Dreamwitch has been a tough character to win with me for quite some time, but I've just recently started getting good at her. But at this point I was like, if I'm going to have an opportunity to 4-man as Dreamwitch, I'm definitely going to take it. So I'm going to go ahead. Postman's eliminated on chair, and I'm just going to hunt around for tinnitus. And I'm going to have the Merc's leech camp the Merc, so if he decides to use exit path, chances are it's going to be a fast and easy down for me. And the postman is eliminated. My tinnitus is going off, but you can see that the mercenary used the exit path there. My spawn follower is following me, but I end up switching to this leech here, and I was able to get another down on the mercenary. And the mechanic actually elbow pads away. But I'm going to keep persisting so that I can get this 4-man. And especially if you're playing in 5v5, this is pretty much what you want to do. You just want to have one leech camping the down survivor, and then you want to maybe chase with your spawn. I'm going to go ahead and break some of this environment here, sort of make my way so that I'm able to have another... Actually, no, the mech is already leech, so what I should do right now is, you can see I'm doing it right now, I'm going to get that leech out of radius so that I'm able to chase with 2 leeches, and that'll make my chase a lot stronger, especially because I switched to abnormal. Chase is going to be a little bit tougher. And watch what I do here. So the leech is sort of chasing over there, and so watch what happens here. I'm going to trap her here. She's going to drop down here, and my spawn follower is down there, and I'm able to get a hit from down below. And yeah, that's the game. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.